Hello and welcome back to our Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky 1 playthrough. In our last episode we decided to head on to Ruan after receiving a letter from Daddy, who wasn't amongst the kidnapped prisoners of the Linda but had got off just as they were about to leave. We had lunch at a windmill overlooking the ocean. Then we came here to the Mercia orphanage, had a bit of a chat, and now we're heading on back to where we were originally going, which is Ruan. A boy's voice says, "Miss Chloe." Chloe says, "Clem." Estelle says, "Oh, it's that brat." Chloe says, "You know you shouldn't be playing around here. What would you do if a monster attacked you?" Clem says, "I just had to come apologize to you. I'm sorry for lying about the emblem thingy." Chloe laughs, "Well, don't worry. I'm not mad at you. But isn't there someone else you should be apologizing to?" Clem says, "No, there isn't." Estelle looks dark as a thundercloud. Chloe says, "I know you're a good boy, so why don't you go and apologize?" Clem pouts. "Well, if you want me to, I guess I gotta." Miss Bracer lady? I'm sorry." Estelle laughs. "Oh, you're apologizing to me? So there is justice in this world." Clem exclaims, "Hey, don't get me wrong. I just wanted to apologize to Miss Chloe. Aren't Bracers supposed to pay attention to what's going on? If a little kid like me can grab something off you so easily, what's your excuse?" Estelle frowns. "Nah." Clem grins. "Bye-bye. Make sure you hone that training of yours before you lose something even more valuable." And off he runs. Estelle shouts, "What a little brat!" Joshua says, "Settle down, he was just trying to hide his own embarrassment. Not to mention you really aren't the most attentive person in the world. Maybe you should heed his advice." Estelle growls, "You're an even bigger brat." Chloe laughs. "You two must be really close. I mean, you act like brother and sister." Estelle asks, "We do?" Joshua grins, "Only insofar as we try to look out for each other." Estelle frowns. "Oh, that's a big help." Chloe laughs. "I'm honestly a little envious. I was an only child. I wish I knew what that kind of relationship feels like." Estelle asks, "Huh?" Chloe says, "Oh, it's nothing. Anyway, shouldn't we be heading out? We can get to Ruan just by following the beach." Estelle says, "Okay, let's get going then." And that's the way we came, so following the beach. Or this sign that says Ruan. That'll do too. Now there was a path down here. Did we find anything? Oh. Did not see the tentacle monsters. Or the Mars shells, as they're known. They have 666 HP. They are weak to earth and fire magic. They can drop clear gelatine. A tentacled monster that roams near the beach area. Divides after being wounded. I see. So it will fire you. And then we will stone hammer you as well. And it was just enough. And we got 80 XP. Ooh, nice. And 2 clear gelatine. And we do have to follow the beach, quite literally. What are you? You are a flying shrimp. You have 448 HP, you're not particularly weak to any element, though you are slightly strong against water. You can drop a monster carapace. A pelagic monster that flies, secretly secretes poison that conceal movement. May call for backup. Okay. So yes, that's a thing that can happen, apparently. So we'll take care of Mars shells first, I think. And then seed the prawn. Ow. Nasty. No, not her. Why are you attacking her? Alright, Mr. Flying Prawn, as you're not particularly weak against anything, we may as well just attack you. Attack you. Ow! Actually, we'll tear Chloe first, because we don't want her dying. And neither does she, apparently. Oh, come on.
All right, we're good to go.
We've got a clear gelatine. Yay. Found a Tira-bomb. Alzheimer's much? A man's voice cries, "Ah, somebody!" He's being surrounded by sharks with feet. Jimmy says, "Help me!" Chloe cries, "Oh no!" Joshua says, "Estelle." Estelle says, "On it." Right, land sharks. Or crocodile. Okay. They have 490 HP. They're slightly weak to everything. They can drop a fish fillet and an egg. A land monster that appears near water. Unbelievably slow, but has a powerful bite. I see. So what do we want to do? We're gonna have to move next turn. Ow. That is quite the nose you have. Score. And we received 2 fish fillets. Go us. Estelle says, "Phew, that's better." Joshua nods. "Yes, it looks like everything's okay now." Chloe asks, "He's not hurt, is he?" Jimmy says, "Whoa, I thought I was done for this time. I really just missed becoming fish food." Estelle says, "That's because you were here by yourself. What in the world were you doing?" Jimmy replies, "It's kind of complicated. I can't really talk about it." Estelle sighs, "Well, it doesn't really matter to me. You just need to stop wandering into dangerous places all alone. Next time you might not be so lucky." Jimmy nods. "Yeah, you're right. Today was a close call, and I've saved up some money. Yeah, I think it's time I splurged a little." Joshua asks, "So what's the plan then?" "If we can, we should escort him back to town." Jimmy says, No, it's okay. I'm fine with going down the coast road. See you later, and thanks." Estelle sighs, "That's one easygoing guy." Joshua says, "It looks like there was some reason he was here. I'd hate to see him get into trouble again. Could it have something to do with this raised pile of dirt, perhaps? He's buried the body of his landlady, hasn't he?" Oh, monsters appeared out of the chest. Oh, a lot of them did, yes. Stove plants. Well, okay. They have 389 HP. They're very weak to water. They can drop prickly seeds. A monster emitting bluish-white flames confuses enemies with swirling flames. Okay. Oh, what did I do that for? Why did Estelle go first? Estelle never goes first.
Not now.
Yeah, no, we do need to run. The recipe for boiled miso cup. I think we can do this. So first things first, I'm going to move Joshua over there. Okay, so Estelle can take out one at a time. We just have to keep them both alive and unconfused. And Chloe alive as well. Ow. Okay, I think we've got him. Go, Chloe! This possibly would have been better if we'd had Red-Haired Cloud along with us, but, you know.
Piece of cake.
Nice. Now we've got 4 prickly seeds. And a ruby talisman. What? The stuff you took before wasn't enough? These treasure chests. So there's a way out. Now. Ruby talisman does what? Talisman crafted from the type of septium. The wearer's attack and defense will become fire-based. Okay. And we found a tear balm. You forgot to say the magic word. Please. God damn it, I hate this sack of crap. Anyway, let's get off the beach. Into Ruan and recovered. At least that's the theory. Now, how would we get to you, I wonder? Is there... Yeah, no, we'll leave you alone for now, because I don't think we have the capacity for defeating you. Then again, we may not have a choice. Alright. Alright, no, we can, use a couple of tear balms on Joshua. And use an EP charge on Estelle. Very quickly save. And see why the frog is tethered to the ground. I'm going to move there. Ow. Ow. Yeah, then going to aquablade it. Oh, there were 2 land sharks. Let's see what our froggy friend is. Jabba! Jabba the froggy person. He has 489 HP. He's exceptionally weak to water. He can drop an evade 2. A monster usually lurking in forests will attack with arts weak against water. I see. right on Joshua's head. That seems a bit naff. And I'm going to move Estelle a little bit away. Jabba's preparing to use arts. Oh no! Ow! That's a very naughty land shark. Strike you on the nose.
Alright, we're good to go.
Got 34 experience. A lot of crystals. 2 fish fillets. Oh, and that's it. We exterminated the monster on Gull Seaside Way. Good for us. Bully for us, yes. The Yeni Royal Academy. Ruan. Let's keep heading for Ruan, because I'm sure we'll be back for the Yeni Royal Academy at some future stage. And so we enter Ruan. Estelle says, wow, so this is Ruan. This is one gorgeous city. Joshua says, the blue water and white buildings do make for a nice contrast. It certainly feels like a port city. Chloe laughs. Well, it promises many varied things. There's a lighthouse not far from here, in a little park on the coast. On the other side of town, there's a pretty neat-looking church, too. But the biggest attraction of all has to be the Langland Bridge. Estelle asks, what's so special about it? Chloe says it connects the north and south districts of the city. And more importantly, it's a drawbridge. Joshua says, a drawbridge, huh? Yeah, that might be interesting. Chloe says, the Braces Guild is just past there, in the middle of the main street. Just in front of the bridge. Estelle says, okay then, let's go there first. But there's shops, like Jones Arms and Guards. And this person's house we could ransack. And ornaments. No? How about the Hotel Blanche? Yeah. It must be posh with a name like Hotel Blanche. The Ruan Braces Guild. Estelle says, good afternoon. And there's no one at the desk. Huh? Where's the receptionist? Kana says, oh, hello there. Can I help you? Estelle says, Kana says, Jean is currently in a meeting with a guest on the second floor. I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but is there something I can help you with? Estelle says, well, we're not here as customers or anything. Kana says, oh, the emblems. I see. So we're in the same business then. My name is Kana. I work here at the Ruan branch. Are you new in town? I don't recognize you. Estelle says, yep, I'm Estelle, junior bracer. Joshua says, same goes for me. I'm Joshua. It's a pleasure to meet you. Kana says, Estelle and Joshua. That's right. You're the new kids from Ruan then. You two were involved in some big to-do with Scheherazade and Bose, weren't you? Estelle laughs. Well, I don't know if I'd put it quite like that. Joshua asks, were you expecting us? Kana says, yes, Jean told me about some promising up-and-comers. But I'm afraid you can't change assignments until he's available, so he's Jean, not Jean. Okay. Why not go sightseeing to kill some time until then? Joshua says, I suppose so. It beats sitting around and waiting. Estelle grins. Totally with you. Oh yeah. Estelle asks Chloe, would you want to hang around with us a little longer? We only just met and I'd hate to part so suddenly. Chloe says, certainly. So long as I won't be a bother or get in your way. Estelle grins. Woohoo! Joshua says, that settles it then. We can all go take in the sights of Ruan. Estelle nods, and then we'll come back in just a little bit. Kana says, sure, have fun. And goes back to perusing the boards. The Gull Seaway Monster. From the Bracers Guild, it pays 1,500 mira. It's medium difficulty. A ferocious monster known as Jabba has been spotted roving the Gull Seaside Way. Bracers from this branch are requested to deal with this threat immediately. Lucky we dealt with it then. Alright. So that's orbnance. The Hotel Blanche. Oh, you're a hotel, not a hotel. Ernest says, hello, welcome to the Hotel Blanche. All of the rooms here boast a magnificent view of the ocean. Please feel free to relax and enjoy our amenities. $90 monies for a view of, I suppose it's for a view of the ocean. Liz says, hey, I know that uniform. Are you a Royal Academy student? Now that I get a close look at it, I like it even more. Renzo says, Ruan was originally a town of sailors and fishermen. You'd have men from around the world here, and all of them made their living at sea. I want my son to live that kind of life too, to be a real man. Antonio says, I should head over to the harbour soon. There are things I want to get done. Jerome says, I guess I should get ready for school. I've done everything I need to get done, so I can't really complain. That's my motto. You say so, Jerome. Oh, is this your sister upstairs? Eletta The letter says... Oh, so many puns. Okay, I'm done with washing the clothes. My big brother helped me today. Hello, would you be Joan of Joan's Arms and Guards? No, you'd be Eva. Eva says, oh, hello, what a cute little bracer. Or rather, a bracer in training, if I recognise the crest correctly. Estelle says, wow, you sure know your stuff. Eva says, I know a few things. Alright, Eva, who is not Joan, but what do you have? Oh... You have everything that is a massive upgrade, but costs a packet. At five grand for a vest. Oh. All right, let's see what orbs can do for us. Hello, Mr. Orb Man. Tobias. Hello, Tobias. Mr. Orb Man. Tobias says, we've got a lot of tourists today. They don't have reservations for the hotel, though, I hear. And that place is booked solid. I think the Bracers Guild office is opening up to take them in. If you say so. Alright. Ooh. I can fully open one of them. Poison enemy with 10% success. Mute enemy with 10% success. Okay. Seal enemy cross with 10% success. This 10% success. Yeah. Right. So, I can fully open either Estelle or Joshua. He can only put a time quartz in there, but it can put any quartz in there. Going to open slot 4 for Joshua. And I don't have enough to open the final one for Joshua. Because why not, indeed? Alright, we'll open slot 3 for Estelle. Augments for Joshua. So I'll need to synthesize one for Joshua. And I think I'll need to synthesize something for Estelle as well. Alright. So, quartz. Needs a time space. Okay. Oh, not time space, must be time only. Okay. Okay. I'll synthesize a mind of one. For Estelle and an action 2 for Joshua, I think. Oh, you're not to this. Where am I going? Okay. So if I change that one for action 2. So, what can I get? Of course I don't have... Of course. Alright, so I'll just use cast 1 for Joshua for the time being. Lavanta Casino and Bar. Hello. Hart. Hart says, phew, I thought the airship trouble was going to ruin the business meeting. I'm glad I rushed here from Bose. Well, if you're sure. Melvin says, not too long ago I ran into this really fast monster on the beach. When I tried to kill it, I actually broke my sword on its hide. It may be small, but it's tough. Okay. Primo. Okay. Primo says, hey, what do we have here? Are you folks travellers? Word to the wise, stay away from the warehouse district. We've got some real unsavoury types hanging out down there. I see. Cool. Oh. Azalea Rose. Ah, okay. Which is a refreshing cocktail made from a pungent fruit juice. It heals 500 HP and cures KO. So, just take one of those. Learn it the next time I get someone killed. Levanto Casino and Bar. Newly remodeled casinos to reopen just in time for the Queen's birthday celebration. Spiridon says, I'm planning for the grand reopening of the Levantar Casino and Bar to coincide with the Queen's birthday festivities. Yes, as your sign over there just said. Right now, the entire second floor is being remodelled. Right, can we use the one-armed bandit? No, we can't. That's rather upsetting. I kind of need the money. Adele says, this is an amazing view. Cigaro says, I've seen postcards of it before, but this is my first time seeing it in person. Sylvie says, it's much bigger than I'd expected. Are we talking about the same thing? Ligaro says, this is amazing. Lytton says, if everyone would look, to your left is Ruan's iconic Langland Bridge. When the bridge is down, it spans roughly 109 arga in length. A custom Zycian Orbal engine is used to raise it. Well, there you go. O'Neill's duty-free shop. Do we get discount, sir, as your duty-free? O'Neill says, when I was young, nary a mirror to my name, I sailed around the world on a trading ship. Once upon a time, Ruan was full of men with the same drive. Okay, what do you have, sir? Not a whole lot. Do we ever need money? Matilda says, welcome to the seaside city of Ruan. Oh, thank you. Ruby says, the Sky Pirates held me prisoner for so long. It's been ages since I've seen my hometown. Ruan's still my favourite place in the world. Atgit says, I've been playing with my mum. Atgit. Yes. Percy says, I've come from afar to the seaside city. I want to say, Celia Bay stretches on, and the fish are sure pretty. I don't think I've ever known a pretty fish before, sir. I'm certain that there are those who share your sentiments. Yes, you just, as long as you don't have lipstick on you, that's... Yeah. Let's see if the meeting's finished upstairs, shall we? Oh, no. Garner says, I'm sorry, but there's a meeting upstairs. Why don't you take in the sights until it's done? Well, let's cross the suspension bridge. Estelle says, whoa, this is the Langland Bridge. It sure is huge. It's got to be twice as big as the Verte Bridge. Chloe says it was built more than 40 years ago. Before then, people used to have to take a ferry from one shore to the other. Estelle asks, why didn't they build a bridge sooner? Joshua replies, the Rubine River is the only body of water linking the lake to the ocean. Ships have to be able to reach Gransel, don't they? Chloe nods. Very astute. It wasn't possible to build the bridge until after the Orbital Revolution 50 years ago. Estelle says, I get it, augment power, right? But it looks almost like it just popped up out of nowhere. Chloe says the drawbridge is raised 3 times a day. The next time should be sometime this evening, I think. Estelle says, cool, we need to see that. Joshua nods. Agreed. And we're on the south bank. Brenda says, the far side of the river has seen a lot of growth lately, mostly centred on trade and tourism. The harbour facilities and the residential districts have been side by side for a very long time. Don't think the mayor would appreciate us just lobbing up to his door. Oh, hello. Louis says, my dad's always working. Always. And he's always got his top hat on too, I see. Norman says, I work in the tourist and hotel industries of central Ruan. The most popular new construction with the tourists has definitely been the Hotel Blanche. The penthouse suite there is particularly nice. Made much use of it, sir? You're wearing a hat inside too, love. Is this a thing? Bridget says, my husband truly loves his work. It's a wonder that he hasn't passed out from exhaustion on a few occasions. Perhaps you should get a hat for your son to wear indoors. Even though it is terribly rude so to do, as I was raised. Logic says... Logic? Logish? Logic says, my father can be kind of offensive, which works both to his advantage and detriment. My mother doesn't always say the right things either. Noria says, my husband is the harbour master, but he's a bit of a coward. He's popular and reliable, but I wish he'd be a little more confident. He was confident enough to name his son Logic. Portos says, okay, I need to head over to the harbour. He sighs, as harbour master I should definitely not have to put up with such nonsense. Where are Athos and Aramis? Aqua Rosa Bar? Aqua Rosa Bar. Pesca says, a lot of my fellow fishermen have just given up the trade lately. Me, I don't see how I could ever do anything else. I think that as long as people keep wanting to eat fish, I'll keep fishing. Carl says, since airship transit got suspended right as I was about to leave, I had to walk here from Zeiss. Besides, let me tell you, that's no gentle massage on the feet. But hey, it could have been much worse. Let's see, excuse me, are you the barman? Salubrious oatmeal, 500 mirror. We've learnt the salubrious oatmeal recipe. What does it do? Squaro. Something. He says, hey there, welcome to the Aqua Rosa. I mostly see fishermen and sailors in here, but I'm always glad for new customers, whoever they might be. Right, what do you have? Wine steamed egg. Heals 600 HP and cures freeze. Oh, there are fishing rods here. There are some fishing rods propped up against the rack. Estelle says, I wonder if we'll be able to borrow one for a bit. Probably not ask the sea captain straight away. Bolly says, there's nothing like a drink after you've set off. But you're on land, you've disembarked, Bolly. This town used to be full of nothing but sailors and fishermen. Nowadays, though, it's more landlubbers than anything else. Zekulti? Zed says, I just got back from the Calvard Republic some time ago. Ain't seen that place in a long time. Okay. Well, at least we learned a recipe. Simon says, it'll cost a fortune for a load this big to fly. Guess I can always send it by boat as long as none of it's in a rush. Guess I can always send it by boat as long as none of it's a rush order or anything. Well, yes, you should support the workers who support you. Benoit says, you kids are travellers, right? Just to give you fair warning, you'll probably want to avoid the warehouse district. There are some real unsavoury types hanging out down there. We say so, Benoit. Arg says, I'm in charge of the warehouse key today. I need to go and get it from Chief Portos. Kupo says, this is where we unload cargo from overseas. Foreign goods pass through customs here and get shipped all over Le Bourg. And this must be the warehouse district. Estelle says, man, there sure are a lot of big buildings around here. Chloe says, that's because this is the warehouse district. Cargo from foreign countries is kept here for safekeeping. Estelle says, I see. Kinda depressing place though. Seems really lonely and desolate. Chloe says, well, since the advent of airships, not much cargo is transported by sea anymore. So these warehouses don't get a lot of new shipments these days. Estelle nods. Yeah, that makes sense. Joshua says, looks like some of the warehouses are abandoned too. And we're just gonna lob up in there and examine, are we? Well, why not? Oh, the door is locked. That would be why not. Gee, nothing sus about you just standing idly in front of this door, hey mate? Picaro says, what's a bunch of little kids doing here? Hey, this place is off limits. You brats ain't getting in, so scram. Estelle says, we never even said we wanted to come in. But mister, why do you look so nervous? Picaro says, you can tell? Never mind, you're not allowed here. Just go already. Joshua whispers, I think we may need to handle this one with some care. Estelle whispers back, well, he's sure acting strange. I wonder what's up with him. Chloe sweats. And that door's locked as well. Okay, that's fine. A young man's voice cries out, hold it, you lot. Oh, heavies. Estelle asks, who, us? Dean says, well, must be our lucky day. Rocco says, not too many women folk come round these parts. You're a real sight for sore eyes. Chloe asks, and what business have you here? Dean laughs, oh, this and that. We've been here for quite a while, actually. If you honeys got some time to spare, how about you entertain us, huh? Chloe blushes. Estelle sighs. Are you seriously trying to pick up girls in an empty old warehouse lot? Sorry, but we have plans already. You know, places to go, things to see. So yeah, not interested. Feel free to go away now. Rice says, oh, check you out. I like tough women. I'll take all the abuse you can dish. People seem to like telling us their fetishes here. That bloke with the fish, the woman who likes it big, this bloke likes to be abused. Estelle says, if your goal was to creep me out even more, consider your mission accomplished. Rocco says, hey, you know, if you ladies are playing tourist, then maybe we can show you around, huh? You can ditch that little kid with you, and we'll have some fun. Joshua is taken aback. Estelle cries, hey now, who are you calling a little kid? Punks like you couldn't take on Joshua if you... Joshua interrupts. It's okay, Estelle. It doesn't bother me. What good is getting angry going to do? Estelle stammers, but... Dean says, aw, are you holding back for our sake, kid? How sweet. Rocco asks, where does this brat get off hanging around with two hotties? Rice laughs. I think he needs a lesson in just how unfair life can be, don't you think? Estelle shouts, just a second. Chloe says, please stop. Joshua says, if my presence has somehow offended you, then I apologize. But if you lay a finger on the ladies, I'll make certain that you regret it. Grace says, what? Rocco asks, just who do you think you are? Dean says, he's just bluffing. Ha! I get that you want to look all cool in front of the ladies, but you're about to experience a world of pain. Another young man's voice asks, what do you think you're doing? Rice says, eh? Rocco says, oh great, another nuisance. Steward Gilbert, oh, sir, just go to a hairdresser. Preferably not the one that gave you that haircut. Steward Gilbert says, I can't believe you guys would start again with this delinquency. You're old enough to know better. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Dean says, shut up. What do you care what we do? Dean says, you're just one of the mayor's yes men. Steward Gilbert says, how dare you denigrate my work? Another man's voice says, "How dare you indeed? Gilbert is a valuable member of my staff." Rice says, "Dalmore?" Rocco says, "Bah." Estelle whispers, "Whoa, who's that? He's way too well dressed for this part of town." Chloe whispers back, "That's Dalmore, Mayor of Ruan. And the younger one is Gilbert. He's a private secretary, I think." And Mr. Dalmore, whoever told you that combing your hair forward was going to hide your bald spot was not necessarily telling you the truth. Anyway, Mayor Dalmore says, "Ruan has always been a free city. I have no intention of lodging a complaint about your manner of speech or your attire. But bothering outsiders who may be paying guests is not permissible." Dean says, "Stuff it, old man. You think you're such a big shot. We ain't interested in a thing you have to say." Stuart Gilbert says, "How dare you speak to the mayor in such a fashion? How would you like for us to report you to the Bracers Guild again?" Rice says, "Bracers schmacer. Always hiding behind them. Can't you do anything on your own?" Rocco says, "Besides, it's not like the Bracers would get here right away. We'd have plenty of time to enjoy the altercation, and then we'd be gone without a trace before anyone was the wiser." Estelle says, "I hate to ruin your masterful plan, but I'm afraid we're already here." Dean asks, "Wait, what?" Estelle grins. "Man, you mean you still haven't noticed the badges? Maybe you guys need glasses or something." With great deliberation and exaggerated movements, Estelle pointed out the bracer emblem on her chest. She then raised her eyebrows for further emphasis. Grace groans. "Ah, crap." Rocco asks, "You guys are Bracers? So wait, this little punk you're with?" Joshua replies, "Is also a Bracer, yes." Rice whispers, "What do we do now? I can't believe that little squirt is actually a Bracer." Rocco whispers back, "You're actually worried? Even if they are Bracers, it's just a couple of girls and some kid." Dean whispers, "Dumbass, you can't judge a book by its cover, you know. You remember what happened the last time we took on a chick Bracer? Even with 3 people, she wiped the floor with us. Going up against 2 Bracers, even if they do look like pipsqueaks, is totally not a good idea." Dean says, "Okay, we're going to let you off the hook for now." Rice adds, "If we see you again, though, you'll be in for some real pain." Rocco says, "Catch you later." Estelle says, "Geez, now those were punks. I mean, could they be any more stereotypical?" Joshua shrugs. No harm done. And don't we have somewhere we need to be?" Mayor Dalmore says, "I must apologise. I loathe when our city's guests are bothered. Forgive my lack of introduction as well. I am Dalmore, Mayor of Ruan. And this is my steward, Gilbert." Steward Gilbert says, "A pleasure, I'm sure. You are Bracers, are you not?" Estelle nods. "Yep, I'm Estelle from Relent." Joshua adds, "And I am Joshua, also from Relent." Mayor Dalmore says, "Jean did mention some promising new faces soon to arrive. Might he have been referring to you, perchance?" Estelle laughs. "Well, I don't know about the promising part, but yeah, I think he meant us." Joshua says, "We came to Ruan in search of work, actually." Mayor Dalmore says, "Oh, how delightful. We've had some hard times of late, you see, so any help we can get is simply wonderful. I'm sure your presence here will be a great boon to us. Joshua asks, hard times? What do you mean? Mayor Dalmore says, well, Jean would be the one best able to supply the details. As an aside, is that a campus uniform I spy, young lady? Chloe replies, yes, sir, I'm Chloe Rins. I'm a second-year student at the Royal Academy. It's a pleasure to meet you. Mayor Dalmore says, charmed. Dean Collins is a friend of mine, actually. Didn't you graduate from the Royal Academy yourself, Gilbert? Stuart Gilbert nods. Yes, sir. You said your name was Chloe? I've heard a great deal about you. You ran against Jill for head of the student council, right? You must be proud to have been a contender as a junior. Chloe blushes. Oh, you flatter me, sir. Mayor Dalmore laughs. I'm looking forward to the campus festival. I trust you'll be giving your all to help make it a memorable one, no? Chloe says, yes, sir, I absolutely will. Mayor Dalmore says, well, I think we'd best be going. If those ravens start making trouble again, feel free to drop by and let me know. It is my duty as Mayor of Ruan to ensure that these streets are safe for tourists and residents alike. Estelle says, well, he was certainly a dignified one. Joshua nods. Yes, indeed. His manner and actions were perfectly suited to the mayor of a city. Chloe says, House Dalmore is made up of a long line of well-bred aristocrats. Although we no longer have real nobles, he's about as close as it gets. Estelle says, wow, it's like he's from a totally different world. On the other hand, though, you still have all the lowlives, like those guys who tried hitting on us. Chloe nods. Yes, that was quite unsettling. I'm very sorry for leading you into such a place unprepared. Joshua says, no need to apologize. It's not like we sought them out or anything. We should probably keep our distance from the back end of the warehouse district, though, to avoid any further altercations. Estelle pouts. Well, I don't like being restricted like that, but whatever. Right. I suppose we should go and see if the Bracers Guild is ready to receive us yet. He used to. Jean says, come on in. Welcome to the Bracers Guild. Oh, Miss Rins. Chloe says, good afternoon, Jean. Jean says, are you here for another extermination request? Ah, I know, security's being tightened for the campus festival. Chloe says, no, but I'm sure we'll be here for that at some point. Today I'm just visiting with Estelle and Joshua. Jean says, oh, I see. So they're civilians, are they? I suppose I should have known by the lack of student attire. Wait, those emblems. Estelle says, pleased to meet you. I'm Estelle, Junior Bracer. Joshua says, and I'm Joshua, also a Junior Bracer. Jean says, oh, so you're Estelle and Joshua. Wow, it's so good that you're here. We've been waiting for you ever since we got word from the Beausay branch. Estelle says, old man Legrand must have sent word of us. Joshua says, we'll have to thank him. Jean says, my name is Jean. I am the receptionist of the Ruan branch. I'll be supervising you two, as well as providing various types of support. It's a pleasure to meet both of you. Estelle says, the pleasure's all ours. Joshua nods. Indeed, it's good to meet you, sir. Jean laughs. I have high hopes for you two. After all, you were the ones who so magnificently handled the Sky Pirate incident. Chloe asks, Sky Pirates? You mean that incident in Beausay? I read about it in the latest Liberal news. Did you guys really sort that whole mess out? Estelle laughs. Well, we just helped out a little. Joshua says it was the Royal Army that really did the work of apprehending them. Sean says, don't be so modest. Ruan had nothing but praise for you. Now, to change your assignment, I need you to sign the appropriate forms. Let's go ahead and take care of that now. Estelle says, okay. Joshua adds, might as well get it out of the way. Estelle and Joshua signed the assignment change forms. Sean says, alright, the two of you are now part of the Ruan branch. Welcome aboard. You've been so busy, you couldn't have picked a better time to come. Now, you can't get away. Estelle sighs, why do I feel like I just signed my life away? Joshua said, it looks like you're as short-handed as we heard some time ago. Is something in particular going on? Jean replies, I wouldn't say that exactly. We are expecting a member of the royal family to visit, though. Estelle says, a member of the royal family? Whoa, you aren't talking about the Queen, are you? Jean laughs. No, of course not. I just know that it's someone of royal blood. I've heard that he or she will be giving Ruan a thorough inspection, though. Estelle says, that's kinda cool. But why would that cause you to be short-staffed? Jean replies, because it's a member of the royal family. If even one thing is out of place, Mayor Dalmor will be worried sick. So, most of our staff was requisitioned to help strengthen security. Joshua says, I get it. That's what was being discussed upstairs earlier. Policing the streets, right? Jean sighs. Yes, I feel certain that the crew at the harbour will be back in action pretty quickly. I want the city to be a hooligan-free district during the royal visit. Estelle frowns. Crew at the harbour? You mean the guys we dealt with earlier? I had the feeling they were up to something. Jean asks, what? Do you know something? Joshua replies, actually. Estelle and Joshua described what had transpired outside the warehouse district. Jean says, yes, the warehouse district. That's the turf of a rather unsavoury group calling themselves the Ravens. I imagine you encountered some young men and their leader there. Estelle pouts. I wonder what those Raven characters are up to. Jean says they've been fine until recently. Whoever's in charge needs to tighten the leash. The mayor's main concern, though, is that we cover the whole area. And that's why we're so short-staffed right now. Thank goodness you two are here. Estelle laughs. Well, it's nice to feel wanted. I guess that means we've got a lot of helping out to do tomorrow. Joshua says, if anything happens, just say the word and we'll help. Sean replies, I will, thank you. Estelle gasps, wow, it's already evening. Look at that gorgeous sunset. Joshua nods, that it is. All the light shines off of the streets. Chloe laughs, I've always loved it too. Oh yes, it's almost time. Estelle asks, for what? That would be the drawbridge raising to let the ships through. Estelle sighs. That really is a masterpiece. How long does it stay up? Chloe replies, 30 minutes, I believe. It's raised in the early morning just before noon and in the evening, and it isn't lowered again until all the ships have passed. Joshua says, I see. So when there's usually no foot traffic. Chloe laughs. I admit it's easy for a first-timer to get confused. Oh, that reminds me. What are you guys planning to do about lodging? Estelle replies, well, the second floor of the guild is always an option. Although I could really go for a luxurious hotel. Chloe says, well, then I think you might want to hurry and get a room. This is the tourist season, so they tend to fill up pretty quickly. Joshua nods. All right, no time like the present then. Estelle says, yeah, let's go. Away to the hotel. Blanche. Ernest says, hello, welcome to the Hotel Blanche. Do you have a reservation with us? Estelle says, no, but we were hoping that... Joshua asks, do you have any rooms available? Ernest says, impeccable timing, sir. We just had a cancellation for the room on the top floor. If it pleases you, I can show it to you now. Estelle says, a penthouse, huh? That could be nice. Joshua asks, but isn't that going to be expensive? Ernest replies, since it's empty due to a cancellation, I'd be happy to charge you the standard rate. Not to mention you appear to be braces. I'd consider it an honour to serve you for all the hard work you do in protecting our citizens. Estelle laughs. Well, when you put it like that, how can we refuse? Joshua says, so yes, we would like the room. Ernest says, as you wish, sir. Chloe laughs. Well, that was a stroke of luck, wasn't it? Anyway, I think I'll go back to the campus for the time being. I won't make it back before the dorms are locked up if I don't hurry. Estelle says, oh right, you said you could only stay until evening. Well, I hate to see you go, but I understand. Joshua asks, would you like us to escort you back? Chloe laughs. It's all right, I know the way. Thanks for letting me come with you today. Estelle laughs. Oh, come on. We should be thanking you. Joshua nods. Yeah, we really appreciate you playing tour guide for us. Chloe says, oh, it's no big deal. And you two are going to be in Ruan for a while, right? If you are, I was hoping you'd come by the campus festival at the end of next week. Estelle asks, a festival? Joshua says, given the Royal Academy's reputation, I'm betting it's more than just balloons and party games. Chloe replies, yes, it's an independent, Academy-sanctioned student celebration. It's a major tradition, really. Estelle says, okay, now you've got my attention. Will it have stage skits and food stands? Will it have chocolate-covered pomps? Chloe laughs. Maybe. They really pull out all the stops. Estelle shouts, oh yeah, I'm so there. I mean, I'd love to join you for the preparations. Joshua frowns. Now, hold on, Estelle. Did you forget how busy we heard the guild is? Estelle sighs. Man, that again? Aww. Joshua says, still, I guess it can't hurt to take a break on the day of the festival. But until then, we've got work to do. Estelle sighs. Chloe laughs. Well, if you'll both pardon me then, I'll see you again soon. Estelle says, sure, see you later. Joshua says, be safe. And off Chloe toddles. Estelle says, she's such a sweetie, yet she's all dignified. If I were a guy, I'd be completely wrapped around her finger. Joshua says, your painfully obvious illusions aside, she certainly seems to be a genuinely nice, guileless girl. Estelle says, definitely not like some sneaky sky pirate I could mention. Meeting her sure was lucky. We even got a sweet room here thanks to her advice. I'll bet we could even spot seed with the view we have up there. Joshua laughs. You might be right. Well, how about we take our bags up to the room? Estelle corrects. The penthouse room, you mean? And back in we go. Do we have to check in? Ernest says, your room is on the topmost floor. I believe you'll be quite pleased with it. Have a pleasant stay. Why, thank you. Estelle says, wow, it's enormous. And this is just the bedroom. Joshua says, not only the top floor, but an all-out suite. I would have been just fine with a regular room, though. Estelle grins. Well, I think we should enjoy it while we can. We've gone out onto the balcony. Joshua gasps, wow, it even has a balcony. Estelle nods, yep, and check out this view. I just hate that we're the only ones who get to enjoy it. I was hoping that Dad would be here. Joshua nods, yeah. I wonder where he is and what he's doing. A man's voice says, well, well, isn't this all posh? Estelle asks, what was that? Joshua says, sounded like it came from inside. And back inside we go. A nobleman says, it's spacious and well appointed. Yes, I like it. I'll take the room. An old man in black says, please wait a moment, Your Grace. I'm afraid that this room is not vacant. Perhaps you can stay at the mayor's estate as originally planned. The nobleman says, hush, Philip. I can't even see the water from there. This hotel has a much better view. I can smell the sea air as well. I can even go out on the balcony. Who are you people? Are you thieves? Or are you here to kill me? Estelle says, that's a horrible thing to assume about someone. Besides, who are you, old man? You have no right to be in here. The nobleman protests, how dare you call me old man? Very well. So you're the ones renting this suite? I'm going to be using it as a private room during my stay in Ruan. I suggest you leave. Estelle asks, say what? I don't know what you're talking about, but I don't see any reason why we should have to leave. Joshua says, I think we deserve to hear an explanation. The nobleman pouts, but I shouldn't have to deal with you ignorant commoners. Do you not realize who I am? Estelle shakes her head. Nope, no clue. All I see is an old man with a weird-looking head. The nobleman stammers, weird? Joshua says, there's no reason to be rude, Estelle. At least say unique or something a little more positive. Estelle says, oh, I get it. It's all in how we say it. The nobleman grumbles. Fine. Clean out your ears and listen well. My name is Dunan von Orslies. I am nephew to Queen Alicia II, granted the title of Duke by Her Royal Majesty herself. Estelle and Joshua are both struck dumb. Duke Dunan laughs. I see your astonishment has robbed you of the ability to speak. But that's to be expected. What more reason do you need to give up the room? Estelle stammers, but... Joshua laughs. Estelle laughs harder. You're hilarious, old man. I'm dying here. You're supposed to be the Queen's nephew. Joshua laughs. Estelle, it's not nice to laugh like that. Maybe he was just telling a joke, to ease the tension. Junan is taken aback. You... The old man in black says, please pardon my interruption, but His Grace speaks the truth. Estelle asks, huh? The old man in black says, perhaps I should have been quicker to speak. I am the Duke's personal butler, Philip. He has been under my care since the time of his birth. Estelle says, huh? Butler Philip says, I assure you that all of this is true, on my honour. The man before you is indeed Duke Junan, nephew of Her Royal Majesty the Queen. Estelle whispers, I can't believe it, but never mind the weird, rich-looking guy, but the butler seems legit. Joshua whispers back, I'm suddenly reminded of something Jean told us. He said that royalty would be arriving in Ruan to inspect the city. Duke Junan laughs. Will you submit now? I am next in line to succeed the throne, and you should be honoured to give me your room. Such an opportunity is afforded to commoners quite rarely. Estelle pouts. You've got to be kidding. You may be royalty, but to me you're just acting like an arrogant old man. Butler Philip intercedes. Miss, please, you must wait. Estelle asks, Butler Philip says, please, hear me out for a moment. Pardon my impertinence, but I would ask you for a favour. Would I persuade you to relinquish the room? The elderly butler produced a large sum of myrrh from his breast pocket and presented it. Estelle says, Mr. Philip? Joshua asks, you do that? Butler Philip says, His Grace is the type of man who will not be swayed once he has begun speaking. I fear this trait may even be due to negligence on my part. So please. The old butler bowed his head before Estelle and Joshua. Estelle sighs. Well, I guess that's that. I don't want to cause the butler any trouble. Joshua says, you can have the room, and you don't need to pay us. Butler Philip stammers, but? Estelle says, it's fine, really. It really is a little too fancy for us. I'll bet looking after that guy's a hassle, but hang in there, okay? Butler Philip continues to stammer. Madame, you have my deepest gratitude. Duke Junan says, hey, what are you whispering about? Estelle says, oh, nothing important. Joshua says, please pardon our intrusion. We will give the room over to you. Duke Junan is taken slightly aback. You will? He then laughs. If only you'd been so humble to begin with. You'd do well to retain that mindset in the future. Estelle says, oh, what a total Joshua interrupts. Now if you'll excuse us. Ernest asks, really? We are back down at the reception desk. Even if you'd explained your situation to the Duke, he probably still wouldn't have taken no for an answer. I'm really sorry that you had to deal with that. Estelle says, it's really no big deal. If there's anyone to blame, it's that selfish Duke guy. Joshua asks, that said, do you have any other rooms? A regular room would be just fine. Ernest stammers, well, I'm afraid we just booked our last room a short while ago. Estelle says, Joshua says, I think we just got played for suckers. Ernest says, no need to fret, we are at fault here. I will see to it that arrangements are made for you elsewhere. A man's voice calls, yo, what's the deal here? Oh, Niall's back. Niall says, "Hey guys, I haven't seen you since the Sky Pirate hideout." Estelle says, "Niall?" Joshua says, "Good evening. I wouldn't have expected to see you here." Niall says, "Look who's talking. I didn't think you two would show up in Ruan. Anyway, what's up? You got problems?" Estelle sighs, "Well..." Estelle and Joshua explain the recent turn of events. Niall laughs. "You two get into the damnedest situations." Estelle frowns. "Excuse me, this is not a laughing matter." Niall says, Yeah, don't get your knickers in a twist. You can stay in my room." Estelle says, "Huh?" Niall says, "My room has some extra beds. Hey, clerk or concierge or whatever, you don't mind, do you?" Ernest says, "Not at all. In fact, you'd be helping me immensely." Niall says, "Sounds like a plan then. The room's on the basement floor. Follow me." Estelle asks, "Are we okay with this?" Joshua says, "Well, he offered, so it should be all right. He may want something in return for this, though." Estelle says, "Probably something way out of proportion, I bet. But I guess we're kind of stuck." "Well, I guess we're going down then. Down to the bargain basement." Oh, lovely, lovely docks. Murray says, "We've got another gorgeous sunset this evening. No other city has sunsets like we do." Well, so I'm led to believe so. This must be the room here. Simon says, "Miss Murano certainly wasn't kidding about knowing the manager at a nice hotel." Right, that's not it, so by process of elimination, this must be it. Niall says, "Ah, good, you're here. Grab one of the unused beds and make yourselves at home." Estelle says, "I appreciate you giving us a place to stay and all, but the gracious host thing is a little too much." Niall says, "Oops, sorry if I'm acting suspicious. I'm just grateful that you guys helped me nail a great story earlier. I just wanted to pay you back is all." Joshua says, "You mean the Sky Pirate article, right? Did it get much of a reaction?" Niall grins. "Oh yeah, it was a big hit. Our readers loved that article on Colonel Richard and the Intelligence Division. I get the feeling that we sold more copies because of him than the Sky Pirate incident, to be honest." Estelle frowns. "Huh, is he really that popular?" Niall replies, "Rumour has it that he's about to get a big medal from Her Majesty. It's getting to be just about all people will talk about. I'm actually going to have an exclusive interview with him." Joshua says, "That's impressive." Niall says, "Well, he's got the looks and brains to his credit. He puts people at ease. That's all." Estelle asks, "What's wrong?" Niall says, It's nothing to worry about. That story dented me a tidy little bonus. Let's hear it for finally getting rid of my bad luck charm. The Colonel's one heck of a guy." Estelle asks, "By bad luck charm, do you mean Dorothy?" Joshua asks, "Speaking of whom, she's not with you?" Niall replies, "I was only looking after her while she was learning the ropes. That big story meant the end of our mighty team." Estelle ponders. Still, it worries me to think she's gone off on her own." Niall says, "I'm kind of trying not to think about that. I just want to enjoy a nice vacation with the bonus I got." Estelle asks, "Shouldn't you be chasing the next big scoop? Or are you checking on that Duke guy who kicked us out?" Niall replies, Duke Junan, our own walking catastrophe. From everything I've heard, he's a real hedonist. Hedonist? More so than most royalty, anyway. Rumour has it that he even drives Her Majesty up the wall. Joshua grins. Sounds perfectly believable to me. But he said he was next in line to succeed the throne. Estelle pouts. Seriously? I don't have to call that fat jerk my king. Niall replies, well, given Her Majesty's age, it's not unreasonable. Plus, there's the fact that her son died some time ago. A lot of people would be opposed to it, though. Joshua says, I'm guessing you don't know much more than we do, which would mean you're chasing a different story, right? Estelle grins. Ha! Bullseye. Niall says, man, I can't sneak anything past you kids. Yes, you're right, but that's all I'm saying. This one's just too big. Estelle asks, you don't think you're overstating things a little? But hey, whatever. It's not like we'd go shouting it from the rooftops. Joshua says, I look forward to reading it for myself. Niall says, oh yeah, just leave it to me. By the way, have you two had dinner yet? Let me take you out and treat you both. Estelle asks, seriously? Joshua says, thank you very much for your generosity. That night, Niall bought dinner for Estelle and Joshua at the casino and bar called Levantar. After a meal consisting of some of the best seafood from Azalea Bay, and drink, in Niall's case, the two brought the now unconscious Niall to the hotel and set him in his bed to sleep it off. We're back at the orphanage of Mercia by the looks of it. Matron Teresa says, I suppose having this much sewing to do is proof that the children are full of energy. Well, it'll all wait till morning. Now, I'd best get some sleep myself. Please watch over them tomorrow, Aidos, and keep them safe. What's that noise? Sounds like someone put wood on the fire. That smell. It can't be. Wake up, everyone. Clem says, what? I didn't do anything. Huh? Mary says, Clem's still half asleep. Daniel, Matron Teresa shouts, Daniel, Polly, wake up. Polly says, Daniel asks, what's going on, Matron Teresa? I'm kind of scared. Matron Teresa says, there's a fire, everybody up. Clem asks, what? Mary asks, really? Matron Teresa says, we're going downstairs now. Everyone stay close to me. Clem says, whoa, what the heck? Mary coughs, it's all smoky. Daniel says, I'm scared. Polly says, sleepy. Matron Teresa says, come on, hurry to the exit. As beams fall on their path, Clem cries out, everyone cries out. Matron Teresa says, no. Great Aedos, I don't care about me, but protect the children. Ruan the following morning. Niall yawns. Oh man, my poor aching head. Estelle grins. That must be one heck of a hangover. It was kinda impressive the way you drank the whole bar though. Joshua asks, sure you're okay? You want some water? Or the bucket again? Niall groans. No, I'm good. I've got an event to cover. Estelle says, "Oh really? Well, thanks for taking us in yesterday." Joshua nods. "We're both very grateful." Niall says, "Just pass on anything interesting you hear to me. I'll be in Ruan for a while too." "Okay, see you later." "Oh goddess, why is the light so bright?" Joshua says, as Niall stumbles away, "Well then, what say we head to the guild?" Estelle says, "Fine by me. We can see if Sean has any work for us." And see if Sean has any work for us will be what we do first thing next time. So if you've made it this far, thank you very much for watching. We hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next episode.